Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video about something I've written posts about. I'm sure I've made videos here about this before, but I'm not sure I ever spoke specifically to this issue. And so I don't know if a lot of new people are finding my channel or if it's just basically the people that have been subscribed since, like, I don't know, forever. But I wanted to talk about the word assumption in the law of assumption, because this is one of the most fundamental, I think, misunderstandings that so many people seem to have when they read Neville. Or let's be honest with ourselves, nobody ever reads Neville. When they go on forums and they talk to other people who also are, misinformed, this thing gets perpetuated, which is the idea that the law of assumption is about assuming something is true, meaning, and the way people are taking that word is to mean that you're believing something without proof, and that will just make it true. Every single one of you watching this knows for a fact that that is not the case. You can easily come up with hundreds of examples in your own life where you have believed something was true without proof, and that did not make it true. It did not come true. It didn't turn it into something else, because that's not what the law of assumption is. The law of assumption is assuming a new role. It's assuming a new state, meaning taking on a new state. The law of assumption means that in your mind, you assume the new position that you want to be in and live from that perspective. So if you want to have more money, you assume in your mind the mindset of somebody who has that life. So it means that you take on, not that you believe something without proof. It's really confusing because, to believe something without proof is kind of part of this whole thing, but, it's not like I see people saying just the most banal, untrue, like obviously not true things, and it drives me a little crazy, I gotta be honest with you. No, just because you think something is going to be easy doesn't mean it's going to be easy. How many times have you thought something in your life was going to be easy and then it turned out to be a real bitch? That's obviously not what it means. And I used to wonder what people got out of just like going around and commenting these like things that aren't true and that they obviously haven't experienced as true, because like I just said, we all know that that stuff's not true if we're just willing to admit it. I don't know why people, I guess I do, I sort of wondered for a while, like, what are people getting out of this? But the longer I live and the more I'm involved in things online, especially like for work, there's just this contingent of people that want to interact, that want to comment on things and want to sound knowledgeable, and that's why they do that, especially like when they can be anonymous and they don't have to actually answer for any of the things they say. So I wanted to just explain that, because this is the difference between actually getting something or changing something and just, I don't know, telling yourself something that will placate you for today, but won't actually get you anywhere. Just thinking that something is true does not make it true. That is, I don't think, ever asserted by Neville Goddard anywhere. But what is true is that if you assume a state and you stay there long enough, it becomes you. Just think about it. This isn't even magical sounding or anything. Just think about it. Anytime you've made a change in your life, this is how you did it. You saw something about yourself that you didn't like, and then over time, you changed it little by little by sort of becoming this other person in your mind. If you are a person who's kind of brash and obnoxious, and all of a sudden you get, ask me how I know, and suddenly you kind of get a glimpse of yourself as, saying or doing something that maybe you think is funny, or you think, but you realize how you come off. I've had this experience like 100 times in my life, at least, where I just go, ooh, I thought that was going to be funny, or I thought that was going to be entertaining, or, whatever. I thought that was something I wanted to be a part of how I behave. And I just realized how unattractive that is or how offensive that is or whatever. And then, in my mind, there was a shift, right? I don't want to be that person that says that type of thing or does that type of thing. It's not what I thought it was. It's not cute. That was a shift and assuming a new state in a small way. And the next time an opportunity presented itself where I would say something like that or do something or whatever, if I automatically would do that same behavior again, it would be even more painful because I had realized that that wasn't what I wanted to be and that wasn't who I actually am. It didn't actually jibe with me, right? Because I'm not a person who wants to be offensive or whatever. So if I didn't catch myself in time to not do it, then the pain level of having done it would ratchet up and eventually it catches, eventually you get it in time, something changes. And after a while, you're just not that person anymore. Just as a personal example, there was some shit that I said on Facebook back in the beginning of Facebook when it was just the Wild West and anybody who was on your friends list would see everything you said. It was pretty cool actually when it wasn't all ads and it wasn't all bullshit. There are some things I said that I cannot believe I said that are so far from my today personality 20 years ago that I can't believe it was me. It wouldn't even occur to me today to say some of the things that I said then. It's a permanent, real change. And that's what this law of assumption is. It's assuming a new state on purpose that you eventually will become. Because here's the real trick to all of this, the real mindfucker of all of this. See, I'd like to be a person who stops saying the word mindfucker. Here's the real mindfucker of all of this. There is no you. There is no real you. This is all just a persona that's a whole bunch of pieces glued together, basically starting to form from your birth. It does seem like people have a personality that's there when they're very, very little. So there's obviously some genetics and some wiring that play into how you end up being. But almost all of it is changeable. Almost all of it is a decision that you're making. And there's not really some authentic you that you can't change. Some aspects maybe, but most of it is just things that you've decided to be. Things that you have seen and then assumed. Think about when you were a teenager and forming your person, maybe even younger, maybe in your 20s, maybe later, I don't know. When you're forming aspects of your personality, you saw something, you wanted to be that thing, and you started acting like it. You started being it. And maybe you looked like a poser for a while. But eventually, it became you. Whoever you are right now, that's not who you were, when you were a kid, probably. Aspects of your personality, anyway, are different now than they were then. That's the law of assumption in action. And now those personality traits that are you are busy creating your life through your reactions to things, through the people that you jibe with, the people that you have an energetic connection with. It would be different if you were different. So that's how this outer reflects the inner works. You create it. You create it every minute of every day with all of the millions of decisions that you make. And so I wanted to make another video about that because this is an important distinction to understand. And I think that when you understand the difference between assuming something, as in, I assumed you were going to show up at the gym today at 7 a.m. because I see you there every day. I assumed you were going to be there. Well, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean jack shit. That doesn't mean anything. That is just some, overly... It should be obvious that that couldn't possibly be this sort of magical concept of manifestation. You can see how the actual law of assumption, of assuming a different state and then beginning to create an outer reality automatically from having that different state and becoming that thing over time for real, as real as any of this is, how that's like a deeper, more sort of magical, in that there are so many moving parts that you're not aware of. And that's really where the magic is. And the magic is really just a perception. It's not magic. It's pretty logical and straightforward, actually, when you think about it. That, you know, the way you are, the way you behave, the way you act creates, you know, one reality one way and one reality another way if you are totally different. So that's what the law of assumption is. Decide what you want to be and start living there mentally. This is why I think it's difficult to approach the manifesting thing with something like specific in mind, but this could just be, you know, me. I think it's a lot easier to start thinking of it as, who do I want to be, and start spending some time there mentally, and then you can see how you start to behave differently and get a different outcome. But I don't know. I guess that's not as get rich quickie, which people seem to like. But anyway, that's it. Have a great day.